Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going. Donnie leads. I stole this off the internet. Time. It's an interesting concept, isn't it? Perpetually in motion, forever moving, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your finances, regardless of how sick, how tired, how restless you might be. See, you can take a day off if you want to. Take it easy for the day, watch some Netflix, browse the internet mindlessly. You're welcome to. Maybe you need it. Maybe you deserve it even. But you'd be bartering with time for that opportunity. You're welcome to spend your day enjoying the things that you like doing, hanging out with your kids, going out on a date. Maybe your idea of a perfect day is at happy hour, and sometimes that happy hour turns into a happy 6 hours. I don't know. I don't know what you do. But you'd still be bartering with time for that opportunity. Getting in some golf, hiking, rock climbing, baking, bowling, picking strawberries, underwater basket weaving, even fishing. Every activity is entertaining in its own right. You think I don't like to go bowling? Not really. You think I don't enjoy fishing? I don't. You think that I don't enjoy weaving baskets underwater? I'm not really sure if people actually do this. You think there aren't days where I'd rather put everything off and just watch some TV? But I know that to enjoy these things means trading our time for it. But let's not miss the point. It's not that we're to be robots who enjoy nothing but writing content about tree care, posting backlinks. I don't think anybody gets turned on when they select a new Weebly theme, but it is paramount that we are proactive about how we spend our time. Here is an interesting real-life connection, if you could call it that. Recently, I spent some time playing Harvest Moon, a game I really treasured in my childhood, a retro video game on the Super Nintendo made in 1997 about a young man building out a farm. What's interesting about this game? It's a perfect example of the consequences of wasting time. So you get a finite amount of time and stamina in the day. Like the real world, you get tired after every action, and time passes hour by hour. So you're encouraged to be more responsible with your time, since every time that you plant your crops, water your crops, feed your chickens, milk your cows, even playing with your dog, that's energy and time that is consumed. This creates consequences and limitations to how much you can earn every day. Does that sound familiar? So if you're wasting your time using a bucket to water your plants, instead of saving up to invest in a golden sprinkler to water several at a time, you don't get to reap a large enough harvest, which means you earn less money. Wasting time means cutting grass, one blade at a time to create fodder, instead of just using a sickle. Wasting time is also feeding each individual livestock fodder, instead of just planting grass and letting them out to eat. Wasting time is chopping wood with a blunt axe instead of a more efficient tool to maximize your output. Even standing still has its consequences. Why? Because time passes even when you're doing nothing. Let that register for a moment. And if nothing else sticks with you from this video, let that be it. Time passes when you're doing nothing. Did you feel that? That was time passing while you waited for me to continue. And I know you've probably heard 1,000 takes on how to be more efficient with your time and better time management techniques. It wouldn't serve you to restate obvious cliches. The point that I'm making is one that I feel doesn't get a lot of attention. And that is, there is one situation where time passing, even when you're doing nothing, can be beneficial. One relevant situation to us in particular, and that is the aging of a lead gen site. Here's what I know. A lot of you may build a site, and you may never do anything with it again, be it legitimate time constraints, unexpected obstacles, or just the idea of giving in to excuses and not being as productive as you wish you could be. But you know what's interesting about that? That site ages anyway. We talk a lot about the 5-step process, building out, on-site optimization, Google My Business, citations, backlinking. But what is often neglected is the aging of the site itself. Not that you're to ignore the training and to just put up a site. That would be silly and won't get you very far, and definitely should not be your strategy. But in the right market, where your due diligence tells you that the competition maybe isn't that stiff, that sometimes can be enough to surprise you 6 months later. But that should tell you that if a site in the right market can produce minimally without optimization, then a site in the right market with optimization produces like gangbusters. In Harvest Moon, if I till one block of land and I plant a few crops and I water those crops every day, when time passes, those crops will grow and I'll harvest them and I'll sell them and I'll make some money for those few crops, and that should be fine. But it would be hard to expect monumental change from a few crops. It would be hard to expect that all of the things that I'd want to pursue in my life for myself and my family would be possible from selling a few crops. When you get to a certain point in life, I think a lot of us start recognizing how valuable our time is. Every moment that we breathe, every step that we take, every word that we utter in this short, finite amount of time that we are given in this life is accounted for. It's the reason innovation gave us automobiles instead of wasting 6 months traveling by horseback. That's why you invest in transportation to get to work in under an hour instead of waking up 5 hours earlier to walk to work. And that's why when it comes to planting crops, time is more valuable than money. Because if I invest in a more powerful tool, I'll till more than one block of land. And with more than one block of land, I'll plant substantially more crops. And with more crops to water every single day, when that same amount of time passes, I'll harvest them all at the same time. And I'll sell them all at the same time. And I'll have made a more conscious choice with my time. After all, time is going to tick and time is going to talk regardless. You can't expect a fortune from one block of crops. Fortunes are made from harvesting entire fields.